the first of two tricky stages for Ineos to manage Magnus Sheffield's narrow lead. Cro Race stage 5. We have the final stage tomorrow. 2 sprint stages though, the first of which it does have a 20k 5% climb, but it's right at the start and there's no other nasty climbs, even though that's not even a nasty climb, it's a gradual one on the parcours. So Sheffield, Ineos would have been hoping for more. They're side by side with Wes Anderson at the start. Breakaway did go up the road though. There's KOM points on offer with Jonas Rapp, Fran Mihalovic on Bahrain, and Savinsky on, I think, Vorarlberg is the team. Caja Rural won a sprint though. Aular is their sprinter and he's on 1 second behind Magnus Sheffield. So if he comes in the top 3, Sheffield is relinquishing that leader's jersey to him if he doesn't take any bonus seconds in the intermediate sprint or in the final sprint himself. DSM, the same logic. They want Tobias Lund to take bonus seconds, and Uno X, with Christoph on 9 seconds, are not far away from that podium if he wins the stage and it all goes right. That's 10 bonies right there. So Mihalovic goes clear from the breakaway. The climb didn't do really much to disturb the peloton, but yeah, I think the 6 stages needed to be a bit more difficult, this parcours, because 6 stages, you need a little bit more than I think the Queen stage yesterday, and it'd have to be a very ambitious team that could go on that 20k 4.5% climb and keep the peloton behind for hundreds of Ks. So 10Ks to go. Tarling beginning the sprint lead out, narrow roads, the same teams involved. I think Janko Alula trying to put Campbell Stewart in good position. Bahrain, I think we're just going for a Burati or Govakar sprint again. Moric is out of GC. He wasn't really going for it. And Ineos had this lined out. Tarling, Plapp, Rowe, Hayter, Swift, Viviani is the lineup, but Sheffield, who I didn't mention, has been shuffled back. He's in the red jersey. He's actually behind a couple of Bahrain riders as Moric starts to dive bomb and move up. You can see him, just off the back of his train, but it's still looking pretty good for Ineos with 2.1 Ks to go. But the question is, for GC, if it's going to be a sprint finish, Viviani has to lead out Hayter, right? Because if you want to win GC, Viviani's won a stage. Sheffield, it doesn't have the sprint of those two. And Hayter's on 4 seconds, but that doesn't seem to happen. You can see Aular's a bit deeper. Uno X are trying to move up to move Christoph into good position. But yeah, I couldn't really I couldn't figure out who they were going for on the stage. And yeah, Sheffield kind of couldn't hold the wheel of Viviani, and he was getting shuffled back. Then Moric and Christoph squeeze Hayter, but Moric doesn't even have his teammate on his wheel, so it's kind of all for naught the way he moves up. So yeah, a frenetic run-in with a pretty fresh peloton. And this race is still very open tomorrow, although I think Aular, he's looking really, really good for Caja Rural. So you can see no Sheffield in shot. Then he moves up on the right-hand side, and then number 5 on Bahrain. Guys, seen this in the Vuelta a couple of times. Stop looking behind. During sprint finishes, he nearly chops himself onto Christoph, and Sheffield gets shuffled back because of that. And then this really weird thing happens. Rowe pulls off onto this little side ramp. Sheffield follows him, maybe doesn't realize there's a little curb to hop, and just hits it like parallel, which you never do when you hit tram tracks or anything. Tire explodes and crashes, and I assume the 3 kilometer rule, because it's a sprint finish, applies to him, but kind of a disaster for Ineos. Sheffield obviously coming back after a big crash in Tour de Suisse. He looked okay, got up under his own power and finished the stage, but Swift's continuing the lead out. Now Christoph's second wheel, Aular, the big danger man, in second wheel behind Christoph with 300 to go. And Sheffield's definitely not taking any bonus seconds, but Viviani, he's next side by side with Hayter, Parasini sprinting, Lund round the outside, Aular on the inside, very messy sprint with no real clear lead-outs, and Luis Aular, the Venezuelan national champ, wins the stage. Hayter just nabs third from his teammate Viviani. He needed those 4 seconds too, so yeah, a bit of a mess. You see Rowe went into that runoff, and then it doesn't show the Sheffield crash, which is a real shame. Sheffield look really good in this race so far. I mean, maybe you can try a long distance fly tomorrow. Ineos have the train and the team to set it up. They need to try something, because now all the pressure's on Caja Rural and Aular. But once again, Christoph's been just left on the front too early, whether that's his own fault or by design, and then he swings across, that blocks Leitao, he gives Aular a lead out, and Aular jumps at the perfect time with Lund having to go from deep. Hayter never really got a clear run at it, but he's able to seated follow the draft of the quickest train, which is Aular in front of Christoph, and just sneaks out in time, seated to nab third off Viviani. So don't know what the plan was there. I mean, imagine Viviani took the ponies away from Hayter. It wouldn't have been great for GC. But yeah, Aular wins the stage ahead of Christoph, then Hayter, Viviani, Lund, and Andresen. But he goes into the GC lead, now 9 seconds ahead of Hayter or Sheffield. So they have to win the stage tomorrow, Ineos, and Aular doesn't come second or third. Plus, there's also the intermediate sprint to contend with. It should make for an exciting stage, though, because they've got to go all out if they want GC. I'll be back with the recap tomorrow. Until then, ciao.